One day, I stopped blaming my tongue for not speaking English fluently and started training my courage to speak it imperfectly. Because progress never waits for confidence. Confidence is born from daily effort done quietly at home when no one is watching. I did not change my English by going abroad, by buying expensive courses, or by waiting for the perfect teacher. I changed my English in a small room, with broken sentences, with mistakes that made me uncomfortable, and with a decision that I would show up every single day, even if my voice shook. Because growth does not need applause, it needs consistency. There was a time when English felt like a wall between me and opportunities. A wall built from fear, hesitation, and the belief that I was not good enough. But walls are not meant to stop us forever. They're meant to teach us where to push. And I learned that the strongest push is daily home practice. Simple, honest, and deeply personal. I stopped waiting to be ready. For a long time, I believed that fluency would come after confidence. That one day I would wake up feeling ready, fearless, and perfect enough to speak English. But that day never arrived. Because readiness is a myth we create to delay our growth. And confidence is not a requirement to begin. It is the reward you earn by beginning again and again, even when you feel unsure, even when your voice trembles, even when your words come out broken. I realized that waiting to be ready was slowly turning into a comfortable excuse, an excuse wrapped in fear, comparison, and self-doubt. So I made a quiet but powerful decision at home. I decided to speak English before I felt confident, before I felt fluent, and before I felt proud of my voice, because I understood that silence was costing me more than mistakes ever could. And every day I stayed silent. My fear grew stronger while my courage stayed weak. At home, in my own space, I allowed myself to sound wrong, to pause, to struggle, to repeat the same sentence 10 times if needed. And that permission changed everything. Because when you remove the pressure to be perfect, learning finally begins. I stopped treating English like a test and started treating it like a muscle. Something that grows only when you use it, strain it, and allow it to feel uncomfortable. Each time I spoke without feeling ready, something inside me shifted. My mind slowly learned that nothing bad happens when you make mistakes, that the world does not end when grammar fails, and that confidence is not destroyed by imperfection. It is built through it. Fear started losing its power because it was no longer being fed by avoidance. It was being challenged by action. I understood that readiness is not a feeling. It is a result of showing up daily, of speaking when it feels awkward, of choosing progress over pride. And the more I acted without waiting, the more capable I became. Not because my English was suddenly perfect, but because my mindset had changed. I stopped asking, am I ready? And started asking, am I willing? That shift transformed my learning journey because willingness opens doors that readiness never will. Willingness allows growth to enter your life. And the day I stopped waiting to be ready was the day I truly began changing my English and myself at the same time. Small practice became a daily ritual. I used to believe that real improvement required long hours, perfect schedules, and high energy days. But life never gave me those conditions. And waiting for ideal circumstances only delayed my progress. So I changed my approach. I stopped asking for more time and started respecting the little time I already had, understanding that growth does not demand quantity. It demands consistency. At home, I created small moments for English, moments that did not feel heavy or overwhelming. A few minutes of reading out loud in the morning, a few minutes of speaking my thoughts while walking, a few minutes of listening and repeating before sleeping. And those small practices felt manageable because they fit into my life instead of fighting against it. Over time, those short sessions became a ritual. And rituals are powerful because they shape identity. When you do something every day, even briefly, your mind begins to accept it as part of who you are. I stopped seeing English as a difficult task and started seeing it as a daily companion, something as natural as brushing my teeth or checking the time. There were days when I felt tired, distracted, or uninspired, but the ritual protected me on those days. Because habits do not depend on mood, They depend on commitment. And even on my weakest days, I still showed up for a few minutes, reminding myself that showing up matters more than doing it perfectly. Those small daily efforts accumulated quietly, almost invisibly. And one day I realized that my understanding had improved, my speaking felt smoother, and my hesitation had reduced. Not because of one big breakthrough, but because of hundreds of small repetitions that trained my brain and tongue together. Small practice taught me patience, discipline, and self-trust. It showed me that progress does not announce itself loudly. It whispers through consistency. And when you honor small daily rituals, they eventually reward you with confidence, clarity, and growth that lasts. I made mistakes my teachers. For a long time, I was afraid of making mistakes in English. Not because mistakes were harmful, but because I attached them to my self-worth. I believed that every wrong sentence exposed my weakness. Every mispronounced word proved that I was not intelligent enough. And that fear kept me silent more than any lack of vocabulary ever did. When I started practicing at home, something changed. There was no audience to impress and no judgment to escape from. Only learning, waiting patiently. And in that safe space, I allowed mistakes to happen freely. I spoke even when I knew my grammar was wrong. I repeated words even when my pronunciation felt uncomfortable. And slowly I realized that mistakes were not enemies, they were guides. Each mistake showed me exactly where I needed to improve. Hesitation revealed lack of practice. Wrong structure revealed gaps in understanding. And mispronunciation revealed sounds my tongue was not yet trained to produce. Instead of guessing what to study, my mistakes became a clear roadmap for growth. I stopped hiding my errors and started observing them, correcting them, and repeating the corrected version until it felt natural, because improvement does not come from avoiding mistakes. It comes from engaging with them honestly. And the more I corrected myself without shame, the faster my confidence grew. Mistakes also taught me patience. They reminded me that learning a language is a process, not a performance, and that progress looks messy before it looks fluent. Every error became proof that I was trying, moving, and stretching beyond my comfort zone. By making mistakes my teachers, I freed myself from fear. And when fear left, learning accelerated. Because the mind absorbs best when it feels safe. And the day I stopped being ashamed of my mistakes was the day my English truly began to improve. I spoke even when no one was listening. Some of the most powerful moments in my English learning journey happened in complete silence. Not silence of voice, but silence of audience, when no one was there to judge, correct, or react. And in that space, I discovered that speaking when no one is listening is not useless. It is essential, because confidence is built in private long before it appears in public. At home, I began talking to myself in English, narrating my day, explaining my thoughts, expressing my frustrations, and even practicing conversations that had not yet happened. And at first, it felt strange, uncomfortable, and unnecessary. But I continued because I understood that fluency grows when language becomes a part of your thinking, not just something you perform in front of others. These private conversations helped me connect emotions with words. I was no longer memorizing sentences. I was expressing real feelings. And when language carries emotion, it becomes stronger and more natural. My words started flowing with less effort because they were connected to real experiences, not textbook examples. Speaking alone removed pressure. There was no fear of interruption, no rush to be perfect, and no embarrassment in pausing, repeating, or correcting myself. And in that freedom, my tongue learned movement, my ears learned sound, and my mind learned structure, all working together without stress. Over time, something powerful happened. When I spoke English in front of others, my voice no longer felt foreign to me. Because I had already heard myself speak countless times in private, my confidence did not come from applause. It came from familiarity. And familiarity is built through repetition. Speaking when no one was listening taught me that self-practice is self-respect. and that the quiet work you do alone strengthens you for the moments when the world is watching. Because public confidence is only a reflection of private preparation, this skip line changed what motivation could not. In the beginning, I waited for motivation to practice English. I waited to feel excited, inspired, and mentally ready. But motivation is unpredictable. It rises one day and disappears the next. And every time it left, my progress stopped with it, teaching me a hard truth, that motivation alone is not strong enough to carry a long journey. I realized that if I wanted real change, I needed something stronger than emotion. I needed discipline, the kind of discipline that shows up even when the heart is tired and the mind is distracted. So I made English a non-negotiable part of my day. Not because I felt like it, but because I decided it mattered. There were many days when practice felt boring, slow, and unrewarding. Days when improvement was not visible and confidence felt far away. But discipline kept me consistent on those days, reminding me that progress is often happening beneath the surface before it appears on the outside. Discipline trained my brain to stop negotiating with excuses. It taught me that I don't feel like it is not a valid reason to stop. And every time I practiced despite resistance, my self-trust grew stronger. Because discipline is not about punishment. It is about self-respect. Over time, discipline did what motivation never could. It created momentum, clarity, and stability in my learning. My English improved steadily, my fear reduced naturally, and my confidence became grounded rather than emotional, because it was built on habit, not hype. Through discipline, I learned that success in learning English is not about talent or luck. It is about showing up daily, especially on the days you feel least inspired. Because discipline turns effort into identity and identity into lasting change. In the end, daily home practice did more than improve my English. It reshaped my mindset, taught me patience, and replaced fear with self-trust. I learned that fluency is not built through sudden breakthroughs, but through quiet daily decisions made in private, decisions to speak before feeling ready, to practice in small, consistent ways, to learn from mistakes without shame, and to prepare in silence when no one is watching. This journey proved that transformation does not need perfect conditions or external validation. It only needs discipline, courage, and consistency. And when you commit to showing up for yourself every day, even in the smallest ways, your voice strengthens, your confidence grows, and the language that once felt impossible slowly becomes a part of who you are.